All right, good evening, everyone. Council just came back from closed session. I'd like to ask Mr. City Attorney, Mr. Vale, to report out.
I'd be happy to do that, Mayor. There were two items on tonight's closed session. One was an item of anticipated litigation. Council received a briefing from the city attorney, but there was no reportable action. The other one was a conference with a real property negotiator with regard to the item that's listed on the agenda. Council did discuss that item and give direction to the negotiator, but there was no other reportable action at this time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So council will now recess from our closed session, and we're just going to take a 2-minute break because we've been in there for a while. We'll be back in 2 minutes. All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you for your patience. I would like to call the regular City Council meeting of September 18th, 2018 to order. Madam Clerk, may we have the roll call, please?
Yes, Mayor. Councilmember Chavez is absent. Councilmember Sternquist.
Here.
Councilmember Yu.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Fish.
Here.
Mayor Mann.
Here. Thank
Want
you.
to move to excuse Councilmember Chavez Wilcox.
I'll second.
Okay, Councilmember Chavez has been excused. Thank you. Moving on to the invocation, we'd like to welcome Pastor Jim Walden of First Baptist Church of Temple City. He will be providing the invocation. Pastor Walden has been the senior pastor with First Baptist Church for over 5 years now. First Baptist is a growing, vibrant, multi-ethnic and multi-generational congregation. They also host 2 other congregations, Rock Mountain Baptist Church, a Mandarin-speaking congregation, and First Kachin Baptist Church, a Burmese congregation. They have a traditional Sunday worship at 9 a.m. and contemporary service at 11 a.m. For more information, you can visit their website at www.templecitybaptist.org or call the church office. So would everyone please rise for the invocation and please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance afterwards.
Let's pray. Father, you are so good to us as a nation, as a state, and even in this city. And you're the God of great blessing. And I ask that you would pour out your goodness and your blessing on this city as well as this council, that you would grant them the wisdom that comes from you. Thank you for caring about us. And we continue to pray that you would protect our nation. Thank you for the freedoms that we enjoy. And most of all, for your amazing grace. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Tonight, Boy Scout Troop 161 will be leading the Pledge of Allegiance. Caller of the flag ceremony will be Duncan Vergara. Scouts presenting the flags are Anthony Hahn, Corey Nguyen, Jared Dew, and Lucas Tiet. Boy Scout Troop 161 will be fundraising this month in selling popcorn to support Boy Scouts of America and Troop 161. They will also be backpacking to Little Hoagie in the Angeles National Forest in October. Troop 161.
Color guard, attention. Color guard, front and center. Forward march. Halt. Please place the flag of the United States of America. Please place the California state flag. May all those in uniform please salute. All the others, please place the right hand over your heart. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, begin. Two. Color guard, reform. Color guard, retreat. Color guard, halt. Color guard, dismiss. The audience may now be seated.
All right, thank you very much, Troop 161. Moving on to ceremonial matters, we have a couple of special presentations today. First, we'd like to do the proclamation for painting the town purple, and I'd like to invite Miss Mary Sneed to perhaps say a few words, and maybe your whole team. Welcome, ladies.
Mayor Mann, Mayor Pro Tem Fish, and council members, thank you for having us here today, and thank you for being one of our major sponsors, Temple City Relay for Life. We appreciate your support since we've started. You've been our supporters since this is our 7th year, and you've been one of our presenting sponsors for all that time. So we appreciate your support. We have a lot of things coming up. You'll notice that we are not doing it in the middle of the heat wave in the middle of the summer. This year, we've changed our date for relay this year to the end of October. Excuse me, October 27th. We've changed our location to Temple City Park, where it's shady. We're very grateful for that. And instead of a 24-hour relay this year, we're doing it for 12 hours, from 9:30 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. So we have a lot of changes in store. On September 29th, we do have our Paint the Town Purple, where Temple City will be decked out in purple ribbons and flyers and posters. So that'll be going on that morning. October 6th, at 12 noon, we have our Survivor Caregiver Luncheon, where we celebrate our cancer survivors and their caregivers, who are just as important in their care and as in their fight against cancer. It's just as important having that caregiver, so we want to recognize them also. Like I said, our actual relay this year is October 27th from 9:30 to 9:30. We thank the Kiwanis Club for providing breakfast that morning. Our Luminaria ceremony, which is what I'm chair of, will be at 7 o'clock that night. And at that time, our path around the park will be lined with probably about 500 Luminaria bags, remembering cancer survivors or cancer patients who are still, or honoring those who have beat that awful disease. In the 7 years we've had Relay for Life in Temple City, we've raised close to $300,000 for the American Cancer Society. This year, our goal is to raise another $60,000, and so far we've raised about $25,000 of that. And we have about 39 to 40 days to go, so we're hoping to reach that goal. Anything else? I'm going to introduce you in a second. Okay. I want to introduce, as I said, I'm the Luminaria chair this year. Introduce yourself.
Dawn Taryn, I'm the Survivor Caregiver Chair, and the Survivor and Caregiver Luncheon is open to the public. You can visit relayforlife.org to find out more information about our event.
Lucy Liu, I'm a volunteer coordinator. We do request for a lot of volunteers, so if you go to the high school, make sure to stay in contact on the daily bulletin, and also we'll post volunteer opportunities on Sign Up Genius no later than the end of this month. Thank you.
And I'm Donna Giorgino, and I'm the registration chair.
Again, thank you so much for your support for the last 7 years. As you know, the fight is still continuing. We hope that our efforts for the American Cancer Society will one day, we won't have to have a Relay for Life because cancer will no longer be a part of our lives. Unfortunately, it still is, and so the fight is still going on, and we appreciate all of your support, and we appreciate the cities and the citizens' support also. So everybody stop on by on the 27th of October and see what's going on. There will be a lot of booths going on. All the teams have things they'll be selling, and there'll be things for the kids to do, and stick around for Luminaria that evening at 7 o'clock, and we'll be honoring a lot of our cancer patients and remembering some that we don't have with us anymore. So thank you very much again for your support. And like Dawn said, you can visit relayforlife.org if you'd like to sign up for a team or you want to register, or you can get information from City Hall. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And actually, Mary and Dawn and Lucy and Donna, we'd like to, if you could please, I'd like to ask Council to join me in presenting this proclamation to you. Thank you for all the service and volunteering that you guys done to really make this happen.
I forgot to mention our theme this year.
Oh, okay.
Okay. A couple of us have on shirts. Our theme this year is like a Wizard of Oz theme, and our theme is There's no place like hope. And look at my shirt. Somewhere over the rainbow, we are going to have a cure for cancer, and we know it's going to be in our lifetime. So that's our theme this year, and looking forward to a really good time.
Can we purchase those shirts?
Yes.
You have to be a committee member.
If you're on a committee. Sorry.
So Mayor Pro Tem Fish can have one.
I have one already.
Well,
I almost wore it tonight,
You
but I
want a
thought,
job on the
Seems
committee?
like that might be a nice fundraiser,
If you donate $100, you'll get a Relay for Life shirt.
but I want that shirt.
But she wants this one.
All right, City Council, we could please present this to you, and I think Jerry might want a photo of us. If I could just read a couple sentences for this. On behalf of the City Council of Temple City, we do hereby proclaim that the City of Temple City to be a Relay for Life city, and urge every citizen to join the American Cancer Society in the fight against cancer. Thank you so much. You're front and center for the photo.
You guys are wearing shirts.
Can I say a few?
Yes, please.
I just wanted to say that I am a member of this organization, Relay for Life, and these men and women, they contribute hundreds of hours to get this event together. It does take a good year to get it together. We have hundreds of people that visit the park. You do not have to join a team to come to Relay for Life. You can come and just enjoy the activities, the entertainment, make a donation, listen to some wonderful survivors and speakers. I know that cancer has touched probably every single person in this room, and it is a terrible and devastating disease. So if you can find it in your heart to give $10, it would be a great, like I said, it's a wonderful organization. Also, we're also always looking for volunteers. So you can always contact us. We need people to work the booth, to clean up, to set up. It's a great, wonderful day, and I guarantee you it will touch your heart. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. All right, and we also have two more very special presentations. Moving on to 5B, we would like to take this opportunity to recognize the 2018 Temple City 6U All-Stars and 12U All-Stars for their accomplishment this season. Oh, sorry, 14U. 14U. The 6U All-Stars represented Temple City at the Hawthorne Tournament and won second place. I would like to invite any members of the coaching staff, if you would maybe like to say a couple words at the podium. If here I have Coach Raimundo Galvan. Oh, is it? Oh, it's Bob. Okay. I have the Bob. Can we have Bob?
I guess I've been nicknamed Coach Bob. Hi, my name is Raimundo Galvan, the father of Sofia Galvan. And we joined the organization last year. This is our second year with Temple City ASA softball. It's a good organization for the girls because it builds them up one character. They learn teamwork, skills, and just to have fun. From the beginning of the season, we have girls that come in that can't even catch a ball, can't even throw a ball, that never even touched the bat, never even touched the ball. Our last game, that last game at Hawthorne, everybody hit. Everybody got a hit. Everybody was on base. Everybody scored. It was a really good game. So it was a good thing to see these girls progress from the beginning, from our first practice to our last game. So it's a very good organization, and we're thankful to be here in Temple City. It's a really good city, and I'm part of myself as a father and as a teammate's father, and it feels good to be recommended for the accomplishments that these little girls did. So it's nothing for us. Or myself as a coach, he was the head coach. We were just all assistants. We all helped out, but we had said it too as a group that it takes a village to raise children, and it did. We all pulled through as parents and as a team for these girls. So the recognition is not for us as coaches, but it's for the girls.
All right, great.
Hi, I'm Jason, the manager. This is Coach Pierre. This is Coach Mike, and you guys have met Bob. Raimundo.
Hey, I told you to get him.
What was his nickname?
Pierre didn't have one.
So anyways, throughout the season, as you can see, the coaches got along real well. The parents for 6U was something special. You don't get a group of parents like this together that form a team of this capability. Without their being a part of the team and basically getting the kids there to practice, to the games, helping them develop, it's the parents too. And that's really why we're here, to honor the kids and the parents. We just enjoyed being part of it as coaches. So thank you, girls, for the fun. And we hope to see everyone back next year. And we really appreciate Temple City letting us use the park. And we appreciate everything you guys have done for our league. Have anything to say? Nope.
You said it all.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. And so at this moment, I'd like to ask my council colleagues to help me in presenting certificates. We have one for every one of the girls and as well as the coaching staff. So we'll come up to the podium there. All right, when your name is called, please come up and we will present you with a certificate of recognition on behalf of the City of Temple City. First, we have Lila Jones. Oh, Lila Jones, sorry. Lila Jones. Lila Jones. Lila. Coming up, Lila. Sienna Olga. Michaela Contreras. Oh, she's absent? Okay. She's absent. Okay. But we'll leave it with you. So you can. Paloma Majanovic. Sofia Galvan. It's Berlin Johnson. Mackenzie Huff. I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Bailey Horjazy? Horjazy? Okay. We'll keep it with you. Oh, and I guess, Jordan Oberlander. Chloe Rodriguez. And I guess this is Coach Bob, right? Not. Coach Mike Johnson. Coach Pierre Olga. Coach Jason Oberlander. And we also have one for the entire team for the Temple City 6U All-Stars.
I just want to say I've been in this town for 30 years, and my daughter played softball starting when she was 6. She went all through to high school and then played in high school. This time in your life with your children and sharing this, enjoy this, because you know what? It will be gone in a second. And the friendships that you will make, these kids will know each other all their lives. All through grade school, through junior high, through high school, sometimes even through college. You'll meet your neighbors, you will do amazing things, but like I said, just cherish it because pretty soon you'll be off to college, they'll be gone, and you, even though right now you are dreading going to Live Oak Park every single night, and you are dreading having the snack bar food, you're gonna miss it.
These t-shirts come in large size.
Yes.
Okay, here we go.
Girls, look at the camera.
Okay. Big smile.
Big smile, girls.
Jordan, there you go. Right there. No.
Make a big smile, Dad. Coach Bob, big smile.
No bueno, man. That's it. Thank you.
All right, that's not the end. Next, we have the Temple City 14U All-Stars. The 14U division was one of the hardest divisions to play in. Temple City is in a C League, but our 14U players had to play teams who are in the B League. City of Temple City and the Temple City Amateurs Softball Association are proud of the players who represented Temple City with style and class. These athletes will be graduating from the Temple City Amateur Softball Association. So at this moment, I'd like to invite the coaching staff for the 14U All-Stars to perhaps come up to the podium, and if there's any remarks you'd like to provide or introductory comments you'd like to give for your team, we would love to have you at this time.
Well, thank you very much for recognizing our girls and our parents here. You know, it's I think when you have 12, 14 teenage girls out there, you know, we do this as parents to be able to help our girls develop, volunteer, you know, assist them. Hopefully they can take whatever we taught them to the next level, because a lot of them, they're playing high school or they're getting ready to play high school. So I think I'm going to steal a quote from one of our coaches from the 12U at the end of the season. He said, I came in here with one daughter and I think I walked away with 14. So, you know, but with that being said, you know, it was a collective effort. As you can see, our coaches here, Mike Johnson and Rudy, he went ahead. It was big for us, especially as the council member, mayor mentioned. You know, the entire tournament we were playing against tougher teams, B division teams, and our girls really stepped up to to the stage. So when we actually went to our state tournament, they were ready for the competition. When we played against C-level division, they came out, they were on fire. I mean, I can't say enough for them. It's about them. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Coach. And again, we have certificates for the entire team. I'd like to ask Council to again join me at the podium in handing out the certificates. All right, first off, we got Aurora Alcaraz. She's not here? Oh, we'll leave it for you to bring it to her. Next, we have Lucero Alcaraz. She's also not here? Okay. Fiona Clemente. Shirley Garcia. Brittany Gutierrez. Oh, she's not here? Oh. We have one for Tati Jimenez. She's not here. Ariana Lopez. Not here either? Okay. Abby Mediodia. Holly Montana. Jaden Olson. She's not here either? Okay. Samantha Ortiz. Olivia Ramos. Emi Sakamoto. Caitlin Serrato. Francesca Segala. Isabella Segala. The twins. Angela Valenzuela. And then we have one for Coach Rodrigo Beltran. Coach Dillian Johnson. Oh, got it? Okay. And we have one for Coach Mike Johnson. Coach Rafael Serrato. And we have one for the entire Temple City 14U All-Stars team.
Girls in the front row, everybody scoot over this way. Okay, perfect. That's great. Thank you. Okay. All right, here we go. Okay, thank you.
Real quick, 14U parents and council members, I want to appreciate you guys for honoring the 14U. A lot of these girls are going to be graduating out of our park. They're going to be moving on to high school just like the coach had said. So I'm hoping through your time playing at Temple City, you've learned character, sportsmanship, teamwork, all the things that are keys to success in life. And the girls that aren't moving on to high school, we hope to see you back next year. We are hoping to have a strong 14U division next year, and we hope to see you girls back. And the girls that are moving on, good luck, and always come back and visit. Thanks.
All right, now on to the exciting stuff. We're moving on to public comments on items not listed on the agenda. And I do have a couple of speaker request forms. First, I'd like to call up Miss Lucy Liu.
I'll wait for the exodus to be completed.
Okay, sure.
Oh. One good word and one bad word. Jordan, come over here. Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Mann, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council, City Manager, and staff. Oh, sorry, that's mine. Oh, then give it to me. Just want to remind everybody that our Area 9 Neighborhood Watch meeting is coming up this Thursday, September 20th. It is at Life Oak Park from 5:30 to 7:30. We are talking about changes in the law, and we are talking about disaster preparedness. As I mentioned earlier this month, September is National Disaster Preparedness Month, so please come listen to the city talk about some steps that you can take to make sure that you're well prepared for the disaster. We're seeing them every day all around the world. We may be faced with different types of disaster, but being prepared for one means that you're prepared for all. And also come find out about what we discuss, marijuana laws, which is still dynamic, and residential burglaries that never change. Come meet the new team member. Some of the community members already received an email from Deputy Rick Adams. He has moved on to something else, so we do have a new team member coming on board. Thursday night he will be there with us, so please come out. Have some great food on on behalf of the city, and come meet your neighbors, or just come find out information about Neighborhood Watch and how to be a good neighbor, how to keep your neighborhood safe. That's it. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Lucy. Thank you. All right. Next, we have Mr. Albert Morani.
Hello, Mayor and council members.
Hi, good
City
evening.
Manager and Attorney. I'm here again to ask that the council consider changing the ban on cannabis industries in our city, to amend the ordinance to allow a medical cannabis apothecary. And this would be a medical-only business. As the presentation earlier tonight, we're speaking about having the marathon and everything for cancer awareness and things like this. I think that if you look into any of the research that is currently going on medically with cannabis, that they're finding great inroads for treating diseases such as cancer, such as Parkinson's, such as Alzheimer's disease, as well as we currently have GW Pharmaceuticals that, as I previously mentioned last time I was here, that have 2 cannabis-based medicines that are approved by the FDA for treating 2 specific types of epilepsy that they found regular conventional medicines are ineffective. Currently, there are so many studies that are coming out new right now from University of San Diego, throughout the world, in Israel, in Canada, throughout our country, that are doing studies looking into the properties of the cannabis plant and how helpful it can be. So in regards to that, even there are lobbies for our Veterans Administration that are wanting to use cannabis to help treat our veterans with PTSD. Now, why would everybody be looking towards a natural plant-based medicine to be helpful that has no side effects? And what are they trying to treat instead of using other medicines such as opiates and other highly addictive medication that is put out by our big pharmaceutical companies? That's what a lot of our veterans and a lot of people are looking towards, a natural plant-based cannabis medicine. And to that fact, our bodies have an endocannabinoid system. We have receptors in our bodies, CBD1, CBD2, CBD3 receptors, which is a new one they just discovered, that allows our bodies to heal itself by using a natural plant medicine. So again, I would like the council to please consider changing the banned ordinance on cannabis industry and businesses to allow us to have a medical cannabis apothecary in town where people can come. They can also have a safe place to go, be able to get information, and as well as to be able to get products that are lab tested and that are safe than they would in the illicit market. And furthermore, by allowing legal businesses in our community, we're going one step further in stopping the illicit businesses and the illicit trade that's going on. So I would hope for your consideration in allowing this to be able to take place. I also would like to work with the city manager and the council members to provide you more information medically, if you would be willing to accept the information on all the studies and things that are going on, the articles from the American Journal of Medicine and everything else that have been published about cannabis and the properties of it and how it is helpful and beneficial to people. And I would like to work with the city in explaining more how this can be mutually beneficial to our city, as well as helping all our other businesses in town as well.
Can I just ask you a couple of questions? I don't know if you are aware of when the issue first came up. First of all, I admire your persistence and appreciate that you take the time to come back as frequently as you do. And the council hasn't, made any movement to go in the direction that you're asking. And one of the reasons is that that overwhelmingly, when we were discussing that ban, there might have been less than a handful of emails or communications that I personally received. I don't know if other council members received any more in favor. I'd say 95% plus of the residents who contacted me also were, please don't bring this to the community. So it wasn't just something arbitrarily that the council decided that this isn't, something that 5 of us did not want to do. It was really an outcry from the residents in Temple City. So I just wanted to make note of that. And then I wanted to ask you a question is, where do you believe that residents go to now? What cities are they going to that provide Temple City residents with medical marijuana? Is it Pasadena? Is it?
There are dispensary locations throughout the entire valley, most of which are not licensed and are illegal places. You might have heard recently that LAPD in the San Fernando Valley busted 100 and some odd shops that were illegal and closed them down and arrested over 500 people. So that's kind of where the industry is facing right now. Now, I know in 2016, when the city passed the ban on cannabis, that was due to a lot of cities passing the same type of ban. Matter of fact, 73% of the cities in California have passed bans. Now, I think that was kind of a reaction to the fact that the legislation was submitted for the 2016 election on voting for recreational cannabis. Now, that was passed in 2016, and a majority of the voters in California voted to pass recreational use. I still firmly believe in the medical use, as well as, I'm sure you're aware, that was passed in 1996 by the voters of the state of California. Now, personally, I do have a medical marijuana delivery service, and I have over 300 members in the collective. And these are members from our surrounding area. There's some people that can't go to a location. And that's why the delivery services, that's why the governor passed the ordinance to allow delivery services to be able to use the local roads and everything. I firmly believe we're doing a disservice to our community and the members of our community that would really appreciate having a place that they could go to and that could be trusted.
Right.
And like I said, I know firsthand, I have 300 members of the collective that are all from this area.
Right. When you say this area, are you saying specifically Temple City or in the San Gabriel Valley?
Throughout this part of this San Gabriel Valley and Temple City as well.
Right, so Temple City could be a very small percentage of that amount. But the reason I ask those questions is I don't want you or any other resident who comes up here and council isn't responsive at that point in time, because if something's not on the agenda, we don't discuss it. And I think and my fellow council members would be in agreement that, at this point in time, there hasn't been any motivation for the council to discuss changing that. To be quite honest, you're really the only person who consistently comes back to share that. So right now, it's not on the agenda. I know we can talk further later, but I just wanted you to know it's not that we're not hearing you. We just don't hear a cry for that type of business in our city.
Well, that was one of the reasons and the purpose when I came to ask for it to be placed on the agenda, and then was informed that it would not be put on the agenda.
Right.
But matter of fact, let me just ask for a raise of hand of how many people here would be
I
in
will
support
stop
of it.
you right there. I know the mayor would also, just because I asked the question, but it's actually, the audience isn't part of any, discussion. But thank you. I mean, maybe at some point in time when there is, some motivation to have a discussion again on the agenda, we would definitely let you know and involve you in part of those discussions. But I just wanted you to know, it's not that we don't respect your position. And every time you come, I do listen and I try and educate myself more and more on the issue.
Well,
But
in regards to that, I'd be more than happy to provide all the medical information to
right,
you.
and I think it's very accessible to all of us. I know staff has provided that to us also, but
If there's specific information that you think we don't have, I would
Then-
encourage you to email Mr. Brian Cook and our city manager, and he can share that with council.
I'll
And
be
then
happy. I'll be happy to forward
And
that
if
information
something
on.
grows from that, then there's certainly that
Okay.
possibility of it coming as an agenda. But as Councilmember Sternquist, everything she said is accurate.
Okay.
So thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, but could you let me know what it would take to bring this to fruition? To how much support of the community would I have to show?
So
I think the
at
start
this-
would just be to
Yeah, if
do
you
it what the
provide the
mayor said.
information right now, there is no quantitative threshold or bar that you're looking for to really define what makes it on the agenda. That's sort of a discussion with our city manager as well as each of the individual council members as to whether that comes forward. As we've alluded to, this is not an item on the agenda, so I'm going to ask you to maybe stop the discussion at this point. I don't
right.
think we can take it any further.
Appreciate
Thank
your
you.
time
But-
and consideration. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I do have two more speaker requests that I believe want to speak on the same issue. The first is Monica, is it Mayal?
Yes.
Mayal? Okay. Please come to the podium.
Thank you for the opportunity and allowing me to speak on this. I didn't think I ever would be. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. I practice in South Pasadena. I live in Pasadena. And the reason I'm here this evening is because I want to reframe a little bit. And I was so happy to see your all-gender bathrooms, because it indicates to me that when change makes sense to you, that you're open to it. And I loved the community support and all the families that were here earlier this evening. I have clients who are children, teens, couples, and the elderly. My day started this morning at a hospital, visiting one of my clients who's survived cancer, who's survived losing a spouse, and is having panic and anxiety attacks, and is in the hospital. Later in the afternoon, I spent 45 minutes doing a 10-minute intake with a client who is housebound due to depression and anxiety. So these things are very real. We don't call it anxiety disorder just because we're saying, oh my gosh, I'm so stressed. It's when it really becomes debilitating and the person can no longer function and they can no longer get up and go to work and leave their houses. So what I wanted to explain to you is that presently, the history of California is that originally psychiatrists would do all the counseling and then prescribe medicines. And then there was such a high demand and psychiatrists became so expensive that they said, we're going to allow the psychiatrist 15 minutes to see you, and then we are going to encourage you to go see a therapist weekly who monitors your behavior, your side effects. So that's my job. I don't write prescriptions, but I continually monitor med compliance, side effects, how effective it is, and refer the person back to their psychiatrist if it's not working. So that's my role. What I wanted to share with you is that unlike my past impressions of cannabis, there is now more lab testing, there's more refinement, there's clearer labels, particularly for medicinal cannabis. And there is an aspect of that, or a branch of it, I don't know the terminology, called CBD, that is not the kind of thinking of Cheech and Chong and people smoking. Okay, it comes in edibles, it comes in liquid forms, it comes in ways that can be measured and be reliable. I can't tell you how many of my clients have received relief from using CBD. And I want you to understand that our other alternatives, antidepressants, benzodiazepines like Xanax, and anticonvulsant meds are all being prescribed off-label for anxiety because we don't have a good anxiety medicine. We know that benzodiazepines like Xanax are often abused and form dependency. And we know that antidepressants may or may not really address the anxiety. As far as anticonvulsants, once again, we're just kind of desperately reaching. The foremost head of neurology at UCLA said that antidepressants are kind of like if you opened up the hood of your car, you took out the dipstick and you poured oil over the whole engine and you hope some of it got where it needed to go. That's where we know so much more about brain chemistry. Yeah. I have to tell you, my clients using CBD are not reporting side effects. They're becoming more functional. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, just for the public's information, I didn't mean to interrupt her to be rude, but we do have a 3-minute time limit for public comment, and we'd like to ask everyone to respect that time limit. But thank you for sharing. The next speaker request I have is Roseanne Boffa.
Good evening. Thank you for letting me speak. Good evening.
Good evening.
So, I am a neighborhood council member of Venice, and I am in their Venice Cannabis Subcommittee because we realized cannabis was coming into our neighborhood, and we want to control it as best that we can. You know Venice. Venice years ago, every corner you could have bought something. I wanted to address what you had said about people calling in and saying that they didn't want cannabis in their neighborhood. I have gone to 24 neighborhood council neighborhoods. What I do is I go in and I ask people if they would like us to put on an educational forum for their neighborhood. And I bring in an attorney who specializes in cannabis. I don't know if you know Mr. Margolin. Has been, ran for governor, ran for U.S. Senate, Assembly, under cannabis. Cannabis is here. We're an agricultural state. It's going to grow. We have to figure out how to regulate it. We could spend our money as city council members, and we could spend our money trying to police it, arresting people, putting them in jail. Or we could think about taxes. We could think about how we could raise the awareness and put legal businesses that are actually measuring, like the doctor said, actually testing. I tell you, I did a lot of years up in Humboldt. They sell these people a lot of garbage, pesticides, mold, which really ends up being a bigger problem because then we have people on our healthcare system. Because if you smoke mold, bad things will happen to your brain. So people want you to be aware that even though people don't complain about it, I don't know anyone that would send a member of the city council or anyone, law enforcement, saying, "Hey, we want cannabis here," because then right away they look like they're the smokers. A lot of them are not smokers. A lot of them are taking them medicinally, and California, 68% of the population voted for Prop 64. So for you to say that no one in your neighborhood wants it, that just means that no one's reached out to you because they're afraid of the stigma. So I am going to leave you these. This is the marijuana. So Mr. Margolin has been producing the Margolin Guide to Marijuana Laws for 22 years. And he's tried to keep everyone, and I got to tell you, I sent him with a dozen. He goes to court. The judge wants it. All the cops want it because they want to know what the law is. And the law is really supposed to be in our neighborhoods. The reason most people banned it in 2016 is because the city told them that they had like 6 months to put a whole ordinance together. So most people panicked and just hit the ban button. But now that the cities are getting in, like Long Park and Santa Barbara, and all these people that had banned it realized that they're either going to deal with the illicit market or they're going to let it in safely into their neighborhoods. And you really should consider it. My time is up. Thank you, guys. I don't know.
Thank you. If you could leave it with the city clerk. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Is there anyone else at this time that'd like to address the city council? All right. Seeing none, I will close the public comment period and we move on to the consent calendar. Do we have a motion for the consent calendar items?
Motion to approve.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Can we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Chavez, absent. Councilmember Sternquist.
I'm sorry, I was busy receiving this. Yes.
Okay.
Councilmember Yu.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Fish.
Yes.
Mayor Mann.
Yes. So the consent calendar has been approved. And now we move on to item 8, public hearing. We have none. Unfinished business, we have none. New business, we have a discussion item on the direction regarding participation in the Ring rebate program.
Mayor Mann, members of the council, thank you, sir. As you know, earlier last year, you voted to participate in a Ring subsidy program that a lot of other cities, shortly after we did ours and a few others, is kind of gained wildfire and has gone throughout the state. And actually, Ring has institutionalized it to where we actually, when we administered it last year, Ring actually has its own administrative program. So Mr. Arzumi will briefly go over what occurred and see if there's some direction from you if you'd like to continue with the program with some cost savings that we had from the prior allocation of funds, and if you want to expand that a little bit going into the future.
Thank you, City Manager. Good evening, Mayor and council members. As City Manager Cook stated, last year, Temple City participated in the Ring subsidy program. At that time, the City Council allocated $20,000 to subsidize 400 Ring doorbell video units. And we issued the 400 unique discount codes. However, at the end of the program, only 300 residents participated in the program and utilized the codes. And so there was a total expenditure of $15,000 for the subsidy program. Since then, I received frequent phone calls or emails, and some of the council members as well have received inquiries on whether or not the city will participate in the program again. In contacting Ring, they said that they would honor our agreement that we had last year with the same conditions regarding one discount code for the $100 subsidy, $50 by the city, and $50 by Ring, as well as the other additional discount codes for additional devices at a 30% discount and discount for the accessories. What is different this year is Ring has the ability to manage the program, to verify and validate the resident requirements that each city has. They do have GIS mapping software that they can geofence the city, and anything that falls outside of that mapping area, they would deny participation in the Ring. And so tonight, We're here to ask council to hold a discussion regarding the city's participation in the ring program again for a second round, and then to provide staff with further direction.
Great, thank you. Does the council have any questions at this moment?
I have some questions. So, so for the $20,000, presumably we spend only $15,000.
Correct.
So it's $5,000 still left in the budget.
No.
Right? No?
That was part of last year's, the
Part of
fiscal
last
year
year, so-
2017-18 budget.
So we actually don't have a budget for it. It's not
Yeah,
in the current city budget.
we would have to reappropriate, but yes, you didn't spend the full 20,000 last year.
Okay. And the second question is, it sounds like from reading the staff report that people who bought the ring devices before, according to this program, if I'm reading correctly, you can buy a second item and then get $30 discount for each item, right?
Correct. You can buy up to 2 additional devices with the second discount code. So there was one unique promotional code that was issued to individual residents, and then the other discount code for the additional devices and the accessories was a separate discount code that was available to all.
So folks who participated before, the 300 who participated before could participate again, but only for the second and third items, right?
Well, that would be for council to decide. If we do participate in the program again, council can make the decision whether to include or exclude recipients of the previous subsidy program. If they choose to exclude them from participation because they already received the benefits of the first program, then they still would be eligible to receive the $30 discount code.
Okay.
Are there any other questions?
I just have one. Brian, do we still have the list of the people that weren't able to participate?
No, we did not maintain any list because there was a lot of requests that came after we closed the application period. And so they were instructed that the program has closed and to monitor the city's website and social media. So if the city does participate again, it would be published in those manners.
So everybody's starting new.
Correct. That we did not maintain any list because it'd be a
Didn't
very
know we would do it again.
or it'd be a very long and lengthy list, and we want to be able to put it out everybody at the same time, give everybody the same opportunity.
Thank you.
So actually, to follow up with that question, for the, because you mentioned there were a lot of codes that went unused.
Right, that's.
So, sorry. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Because when she brought that up, it jumped in my head. So we don't have any way to. Well, I guess the first question is, those codes don't work anymore.
No,
right?
all the codes have
Okay.
been deactivated and they're expired.
Okay, and then you just answered the question. We don't have a list of those who have not used them yet.
Correct.
Okay. I'm sorry. Is there another question here?
Okay, so we opened it up to 400, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so are you telling me that we had 100 people that actually received the codes and didn't use it?
Correct.
Okay.
I think there were, if I recall correctly, there were a time when the codes didn't work, right?
At the beginning.
In the beginning
in
it
the
was, but that was
beginning,
remedied,
because
and
they
that was
Yeah.
that was when I sent it to the first, I think, 30 participants. So it was not the majority of the group. I
Right.
got an immediate notification from someone trying the code, so I immediately stopped sending out the codes and worked with the ring to resolve that issue.
Yeah, because I was
Yeah.
one of them that tried it, didn't work.
And then we also give them, how much time do we give them to use the code?
It's on a first come, first served basis. So possession of the code itself does not guarantee the discount. And so the residents that receive the code early on would
right away.
use it. But if you sit on it and hold it and there's other codes issued after you received yours, you run the risk of possibly not having your code be valid because that subsidy may be used up already.
Oh,
So
okay.
we encourage them to use it as soon as they receive it.
Okay. All right,
You know,
thank you.
Brian, I do recall that there was a handful of people who lived in the industrial area, that street, what is that street, Brian? Just west of Temple City Boulevard? Yes, Gidley. And when they came and they spoke a couple times about the ring program, we did tell them that we would reach out to them. Now, it's just a small group of people, but I'm sure Peggy probably could find those.
I know the individuals you're talking about.
You know who they are. So maybe we could, since we did tell them we would.
Okay.
That'll be fine.
Are there any further questions at this time? All right, seeing none, I'd like to open up the public comment period. Is there anyone who'd like to make a comment on this item? No? Lucy?
Lucy?
It was open for public comment.
Oh, yeah, of course it is.
Always.
Always, yes.
We hold the area watch meetings, and lo and behold, every meeting somebody will ask, "Hey, how about that ring program? Is the city bringing it back?" And we'll tell them, "Go talk to the city council." So when I saw this item on the agenda, I was elated because we do have a lot of feedback, positive feedback from the community that they want something like this again, and we have a lot of members who install those. As a matter of fact, Mike, he lives in a community of 44 units, and their HOA made it their top priority to give every unit one of these. So it helps law enforcement greatly to provide these videos. So this is something that, as a neighborhood watch area leader, yes, please vote yes. Thank you.
Lucy,
Yes.
something that you said law enforcement helped them greatly. Is that a statement of fact from the sheriff's department? Because I'm a subscriber myself of Ring. I have one installed during the Ring program. I watch it all day long. If it rains, and it's funny because I'll be in a meeting, different people's phone will ring at different times. But I often wonder, does the sheriff department check them? Or
Mayor,
how that works?
Councilmember, you actually have talked to the captain of the sheriff's department.
Right.
They're actually looking at a countywide protocol of actually looking and using those ring networks. It's not utilized right now, but they're actually looking at a uniform process of using that service.
But in response to your question, what I mean is, for instance, in their 44 units, every house has one.
Right.
So they can literally have a frame-by-frame video to provide law enforcement if, unfortunately, one unit gets broken into. And I volunteer at the station, and a lot of times on Sundays, people will drop off video clips of what their Ring took down or whatever their surveillance camera takes down.
Right.
I'm not saying that we're endorsing Ring, but it is it is a very simple device to install, and a lot of people have it. So to have the ability to provide video footage increases the chances of, law enforcement, they do work with each other. Maybe they could recognize, hey, we saw that guy in our city, and, and I've heard in the past that it's helped them nab some of the guys because, we now know there's a certain amount that, for petty theft and this and that. But if they break in, it's a felony, of course. But, if they can pin more crimes on these guys, if they're showing up in multiple cities on multiple rings, that's a high amount of money that these guys are going to be nabbed for. So hopefully they stay behind bars longer and don't come back to our city because we got the Ring watching them.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to address the council on this item? All right, seeing none, I will close public comment. Any council discussion? Maybe Councilmember Sternquist, do you have anything you want to add?
I love the program. I think we need to move forward. That's it.
Okay. Thank you. Councilmember Yu?
Yeah, I'm a great fan of the program. I have it on. It's my house right now. I mean, it's like, it's great. I mean, sometimes we see the delivery we made, and then so I will call my wife and say, go, make sure, because she didn't hear it sometimes, it depends on where you are in the house. And I said, there's a package outside, go grab it before somebody grabs it before us. So, and I think it definitely does increase the sense of security. And I think it's a great program. I think the city should try it. Now, as far as who should get it, I just think that folks who have had the opportunity probably should not be, we should let new people get it this time, whoever have had it. I think Ring should be able to tell who had it during that time, right?
Correct. They'll have the information from the purchase.
Right,
to be able
so
to
if
determine
the
that.
address turns out to be somebody who has already subscribed to Ring, then they're not qualified for this discount, the next batch of discount. That's my thoughts.
So logistically, if, say, we took the idea that you brought up,
right,
would we be able to work with Ring to identify the households?
Yeah, Ring can, as part of a layer on the GIS map, they can create a layer that identifies the households that have purchased the Ring device under the previous program and flag it so that it'll exclude that. It'll show up that not eligible and something of that nature. Okay. So they will have that database and that capability to exclude all the first round purchasers.
Okay. And for the folks who missed the boat on the first sort of ring subsidy, they'd have an opportunity to.
Correct. It's only those that used the code and purchased the device, not those that were in possession and didn't get to use it because it expired.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Fish.
Well, I highly support this program. I also have it at my home, and I like it very much. I think, actually, I do believe that it has helped with our crime going down. I think, I know that we can't 100% prevent burglaries, but I think when the novice sees a ring, they may think twice. And I also like the networking as far as sharing the video. I've gotten several things on social media about certain cars to watch out for certain things. There's suspicious people in the neighborhood. So, yeah, I would have to vote for it. Thank you.
And I'm also in favor of bringing this program back. I concur with all my council members. Now, in regards to the amount, I know the staff report mentions that we had allocated $20,000 in the past. I do want to bring up one note. Perhaps, Mr. Cook, you could maybe clarify a little bit. On one of our consent calendar items was a fourth quarter budget amendment last year. And correct me if I'm wrong, but we came out a little bit ahead.
Yes, by about $140,000 we're in the black as we will close out the fiscal year 17-18 that ended this past June 30th. So you brought in more revenue than you expended from a budgetary standpoint. So yeah, you have a little bit of an extra surplus to.
Okay. And in addition to that, for the unused programs, we didn't pay out for those subsidies. So I think we're in a good position to bring back the ring program. If I could start by suggesting that we also bring back the 20 grand. I don't know if council has a different opinion about a different amount. Councilmember Yu?
Yeah, I would be supportive of that.
20,000?
Yeah.
Also,
Just to
yes.
add a little bit too, I mean, previously, Councilmember Chavez not here, but he was the first one who brought up the ring program himself.
Correct.
So
And he
I'm
also
sure
has
we
it.
have his support as well, even though he's not here to vote on it.
Okay. And is 20,000 sound good to you? Okay. All right. Then having heard all of council's discussion, do we have a motion for this item?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Actually, if you could just speak, we're going to have to bring it back. So it'll be a motion would be for 20,000 and
bring
the
it back.
continuation of the ring program.
Okay.
Lucy wants to.
I'll second.
Am I allowed to add one more comment on the subject?
No, but go ahead.
Well, maybe you can address us at the next public comment period, which will just be right after this. Okay.
Well, but then isn't that for item not on the agenda?
You could still talk about it. Yeah. Okay. So we have a motion by Councilmember Sternquist to bring this back with the 20,000 item. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. We have a motion and a second. Can we have a roll call, please?
Yes, Mayor. Councilmember Sternquist?
Yes.
Councilmember Yu?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Fish?
Yes.
Mayor Mann?
Yes. All right. So we'll look forward to hoping to continue the success of this program as we, well, we're going to bring it back for official approval. So
Yes, we'll bring it on and it'll be on
there's
a
more-
consent calendar item.
more to come, but I think we're headed in the right direction.
Thank you, sir.
All right. So next we have an update from our city manager.
I'll be brief since Ms. Liu has something else to add. Just teasing. Two things. Last Tuesday, wearing her hat as president of the COG, Councilmember Sternquist hosted the the opening of the San Gabriel Valley Trench project, and we'll show a couple pictures of that. This is part of the ACE project, and as I'm going to report back to you on some of the city manager activity and other things related to ACE. If you remember now, ACE is now not a separate component of the COG, but as was always a part of the family of the COG, and now is officially. And this is a big moment for the COG. The project was a 2.2 mile trench grade separation that resulted in a lowering of 1.4 1 miles of sections of Union Pacific Railroad, 30 feet deep, 65 feet wide, through the city of San Gabriel. Why do we care about San Gabriel in this area? Well, anytime we do grade separations, it actually alleviates traffic throughout the region. We've seen that locally as well, even though not in our city, but in the city of El Monte, with the grade separation, above grade separation on Baldwin. $293 million project started in spring of 2014. The project benefits, again, region-wide, not just in the city of San Gabriel, but it was estimated that over 2,000 vehicle hours were, delay in vehicle hours were caused without this grade separation before and now are alleviated. If you've driven around the area recently, it's pretty great. So this is one of the big projects that ACE and the COG are bringing to the region. Congratulations to the Executive Director, Marissa Crater, their Chief Engineer, Mark Christoffels, and others for a really great project that is going to benefit the entire region. Councilmember Sternquist, as our hat as president of the COG, can talk about many of the other projects that the COG will be doing under its ACE arm, including freeway improvements and whatnot. But this is great. A lot of legislators at this event across the board, but it was we were represented well by both with Councilmember Sternquist, and a great project for the region. So
just a maybe quick question: is there any long-term outlook for grade separations within our city?
That is a great. I'll let you.
There's 2 in the pipeline, and the next one will be Montebello, and I always forget the other. Do you recall, Brian?
Turnbull Canyon?
Yes. I always forget the name of that place. But so those 2 are when the funding expires. So there's no new funding for any others past those 2. The integration now of ACE into COG, where COG is actually looking at all the projects, where before they were done separately. Now the focus will be on all the members, municipalities, each one, to bring projects to the city that we might be interested in, such as Rosemead Boulevard. When that was done, that was a Metro call for projects. Metro is not doing call for projects anymore. So the funding from the measure that was passed will now be going through the COG to be administered to the cities. So if there's something that the city thinks that we would be interested in, or partnering with another COG city, then you could present that to the COG for consideration.
Okay. So my understanding is the area within our limits is Lower Azusa and Encinita, right?
That would be one area that would be eligible, I guess, for grade separation. Pretty complex project as well.
Right.
Requiring multiple jurisdictions to look at, but something that would be on the radar screen.
And the only reason I knew about Turnbull Canyon is if I wear my county hat, some of those projects come through us for review, so I see them kind of happening one by one.
And actually, some of the funding from Montebello's proposed separation, if the bond measure is repealed for the gas tax, SB1, then that project will probably not come to fruition either.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
So there were some matching grant funds that needed to come with that, and City of Montebello doesn't have that to bring to the table should the gas tax go away. So a lot is depending on the gas tax, and we really don't know until after November 6th.
Thanks for sharing.
It's really interesting. I never thought I'd learn anything about trench separations and grade separations, and it's been really informative. I serve now on the ACE Capital Projects Committee, and it's so technical, and it's probably so much of what you're familiar with. is an environmental engineer, and I've just learned so much about things I would have never been exposed to. So.
Yeah, it's very complex for sure,
Yes, it
considering all
is.
the agencies involved. So, anything else, Mr. Cook?
Thank you for sharing that, Brian.
No problem, Councilmember Sternquist. Lastly, as you all know, this weekend, Moon Festival, our partnership with the World Journal. Really excited. It's crunch time for us as we get through the ups and downs of putting an event together. Really excited. Thank you to the team, Kenneth Lynn, and others. Just as a reminder, as I've been sending you, 2 p.m. on Saturday will be the opening ceremonies. Little mooncake ceremony as well. Please come. This is really a family event, and we're looking forward to the entire community joining us as we come together in harmony, as Kenneth said this morning, come together in harmony and love with our, in respect for our community. So looking forward to that. There will be impacts all weekend long. We've done our best to come up with a plan, a traffic plan. School district has helped us with using their parking lot to make sure the vendors are on that parking lot. Thank you to the school district. But we're expecting some big crowds, so there will be a little more congestion. There will be more parking. We'll be sending out some Twitter, some social media feeds, and we've actually done flyers walking around the neighborhood as well, just to let everybody know. So there will be impacts this weekend. We've done our best to try to mitigate them to the best of our ability, but it should be fun. Come out and enjoy.
Brian, do you see it exceeding the amount of people that come out for the Camellia Festival?
Don't know. This is our first one, so we're gonna have to see, based on Kenneth's response that he's getting on social media, and we're gonna have a very sizable crowd both days.
All right, thank you, Mr. Cook. Next, we have an update from our city attorney.
Mayor and council members, I just wanted to brief you on a bill that the governor signed into law yesterday. You might have heard of Senate Bill 946 that had to do with sidewalk vendors. Well, that's now a law. And for those of you who haven't heard of it, it basically prohibits cities from prohibiting sidewalk vendors or from regulating them as robustly as we have in the past. With the new law, the city will only be able to limit sidewalk vendors, and sidewalk vendors are like your traditional hot dog cart or the little ice cream push cart or the fruit carts that you see around, and various other vendors that you can find on sidewalks. We can only limit the areas of the public sidewalk or limit the time, place, and manner of their sales as long as it's directly tied to an objective health, safety, and welfare concern, which means in any ordinance that we adopt now to try to become compliant with the law, we'll have to make findings and articulate why we're doing each thing and what health and safety concern it is. We will not be able to prohibit or require vendors only to be within certain areas or neighborhoods of the city. Like, for example, we will not be able to say you can only be in the commercial areas. This law says they can go anywhere, residential neighborhoods, manufacturing, commercial, or otherwise. The only place we can prohibit them is if we have within the vicinity of a permitted and certified farmers market or swap meet or some other type of special event temporary permit. So, for example, with the festival that the city manager just mentioned, we would be able to have an ordinance that prohibits the sidewalk vendors from being present on or in the immediate vicinity of that type of event for the duration of the event. We used to be able to limit or levy fines and penalties. Now, all that we'll be able to do is an administrative fine, and that fine has to be subject to a determination of the vendor's ability to pay. And so we will be working with your city manager and his staff to look at your existing ordinance and hopefully bring it into compliance. So that will probably come back to you at some point in the future.
Mr. Bale,
Do
question.
vendors, oh, I'm sorry.
No,
Do
go ahead.
vendors need to have a business license to sell?
We're supposed to have
They still have to comply with or at least get local business license and they will also still have to get a health permit from the county.
Okay, that was my first question, but I have another one. Obviously, they cannot block sidewalks or create a situation where a eight-day person cannot get through. I mean, that would still apply.
That would be one of the objective health, safety, and welfare concerns that we would articulate. Can't be so close to the sidewalk in the street where they're going to fall into the street
Right,
or obstruct traffic views or pedestrian access, things like that. Yeah.
But I guess based on our track record within the city, are we aware of any street vendors that have a presence here?
There's one individual council member who was not here, who I get a call from on there's a couple areas that I'm aware of in town.
There's a couple.
Yeah, there's about two or three.
Not many, but
They're not many.
Okay.
They're around the same vicinity.
Yeah.
All right.
Other than that, that's all I have for you this evening.
Great. Thank you. All right, moving on to council reports on ad hoc or standing committee meetings. Do we have any reports for tonight? All right, seeing none. We move on to council items separate from the city manager's regular agenda, starting with Councilmember Sternquist.
I don't really have much to share. I'm just excited for the Moon Festival. I think it's going to be a great opportunity. I will be on vacation, so I won't be here, but send me pictures. I'm hoping that it's as successful or more so than when we had it. How many years ago was that, Vincent? Was that?
Gosh, probably 7
at least
7 years,
at
6,
least
7 years
at least
ago.
6 or 7.
6 or 7.
First
so-
time we had it was 105 degrees.
It was
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was awfully hot.
And I know you're all taking turns or
In the city
partnering
booth.
up to be in a booth where you will greet the public as like a meet and greet. So I think
Yes.
that's awesome. We did that 7 years ago, and it was very successful, and people
Yes.
really enjoyed it. So
good to hear.
thank you for doing that again.
We'll send you
That's it.
pictures of food.
Okay, yeah,
lots of
food. Well, I will be eating the toasty.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Jerry's favorite.
Stinky tofu.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Yu?
Oh, thank you, Mayor. I really don't have a lot to add, but I just want to, since we talk about the San Gabriel Trench, I just want to say that that's a great project. And also want to take this opportunity to give a shout out to Councilmember Sternquist for being the leader, the president that presides over the San Gabriel Caucus. It's a very important regional organization. I want to thank her for her time. I mean, this is like a wonderful project. I use it every day, and it's a great project. Not only it make the traffic faster now without the train, they also added a right turn lane, actually one more lane on Mission Road. So, great project. Thank you for your work.
Thank you. I enjoy it.
All right, thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Fish?
Well, I just have one thing, and I am currently a part of the California Contract Cities Legislative Committee, and I brought each of you some of the things that are coming down the line. As you noticed, we do have the street sidewalk vendor on here, and Contract Cities, we did veto that, and we did send a letter of non-support. I will say one of the main objectives of Contract Cities is our loss of local control. The state is taking away a lot of our rights. They are treating a lot of the cities unfairly in the fact that they are kind of blanket authorizing things that, you know, every city is different, so you just can't do that. I mean, you can't, you know, we're not Huntington Beach, we're not San Fernando, we're Temple City. So we have to keep that local control. We know our residents, we know our business district, we know our schools. So, you know, we do go to Sacramento once a year, we do speak to the legislators one-on-one, and we do, you know, tell them those issues. And, you know, we are successful, sometimes we're not, like in the sidewalk case, we're not. One of the things that we were successful on, which is, AB 3162, which actually does not pertain to our community because we don't have a lot of these, but a lot of our beach communities, they have the drug abuse treatment centers. And what's happening there is these treatment centers, because a lot of them are not regulated, they rent these big, beautiful mansions on the coast, and they charge people thousands of dollars to supposedly rehabilitate them. We have no proof that they're being rehabilitated. They are being hosted in residential areas. They're causing traffic. They're causing lots of problems, and they may last a year, 2 years, and then they leave. So, like I said, our beach communities were very upset about it. The neighbors, of course, obviously you can imagine spending $10 million on a beachfront home and then having a rehabilitation center open next door was not going very well. So we were successful in doing that, and we did write a letter in support of that, and that did just pass. So we are successful in some areas. Fortunately, sometimes we're not, but it's always good to keep a know on what's going on. Things are constantly changing. I can truly say, and I'm sure Eric can agree with me, they come up with some crazy things. And I wonder sometimes what they do all day. Because I get some and I just think, what? That's what we're talking about? So, yeah, anyway, so I just want to let everybody know. And if the public would like to, they can get a copy of this at the California Contract Cities Association website. It's always posted, kind of what's coming down the line. So thank you.
All right.
All right, thank you for that report. Just a couple of items. As Mr. Cook mentioned, our partnership with World Journal is culminating in this weekend's Moon Festival. So I'd like to encourage everyone to come out, participate. It's 2 days, Saturday, Sunday. It's going to be different, but I think in a good way. I think we'll have an opportunity to kind of experience a lot of different things that we typically may not have the opportunity to do so. Like just personally speaking, I know my wife Helen always mentions, because she grew up in Hong Kong, so she's always kind of alluding to, the atmosphere here is not quite the same. But I think more importantly, I think these events kind of allow us to like broaden our horizons just in our backyards. We're bringing sort of different cultures together right here in the city, and to add sort of like a local flavor to it. And I think that's what makes this time around, it makes it really special because of the openness and willingness of World Journal to incorporate a lot of the ideas that we as a council had discussed, especially trying to incorporate local organizations, local groups. We have several booths that are allocated to some of our local organizations that we had offered to them, and I know a number of them have taken up that offer and will be present. We've also outreached to a lot of local groups for performances. So the performances aren't all of these, pay for professional performers. We're going to have a good-sized local presence participating actively in the gazebo. And it's a great way for us to showcase our local talent, which is something I know our Camellia Festival already does an excellent job of doing. So this is another opportunity to give them that chance to sort of shine on a different stage. So I'm looking forward to that, and I hope it's successful. And please, everyone, come out this weekend. There'll be lots of food as well. And next, I just want to, and on that note, I just want to also thank the school district for working with World Journal and us and allowing the use of their parking area. I think that's a big benefit,
big plus,
to everyone involved. So,
William, did we use that last time?
I don't recall. Did we?
I think we did.
I thought we did. I thought we did, yes.
I think we did.
Yeah, because I mean the location is just right
Perfect.
there. So, Anyway, and the last thing I just want to share is last Friday I had the opportunity to join staff on one of the business visitation surveys that staff has been doing for some time. This time around, we stopped by Bistro Naz in Camellia Square. They've been open for almost 2 years now. And so we had a good conversation with the manager, and she even brought the head chef there. Kind of a surprise, but it was good because we got to kind of hear directly from them. Like last time I alluded to the parking study outreach that we did to some of our businesses. It seems like it's much more effective when we schedule a time that works for them, and we go to them. We get a lot of good information. I know Mr. Cook also was with us, and he had an opportunity to take in a lot of the feedback that was provided. So, and I think they also expressed gratitude in us being open to listening to their concerns. And so I'm sure Mr. Cook can have some more information for you after staff completes a report on that business visitation.
Mayor, will you share the 2 new places that are, one's opening and one is already open? I'm sure our residents would enjoy knowing.
Actually, thank you. I was going to segue to that because while we were there, Mr. Cook also said, "Hey, have you checked out the Dive yet?" And I said, "No, I actually haven't." So the Dive just had a soft opening. It's kind of like an oyster bar with a Cajun style twist, Cajun style cuisine. And they had a soft opening, and we had a chance. I haven't had a chance to try the food, but when we stopped by, I had the pleasure of meeting the owner, Mr. Johnny Nguyen, who happens to be a local resident. He grew up in Temple City. He actually said he knows Braxton.
Really?
Yeah. So
he tends to eat a lot, so.
well, actually, no, I'm sorry. I'm mixing that up with someone else.
Okay.
I'll tell you about that later.
Okay.
No, he knows. I got that mixed up. He knows the mayor of Rosemead, Stephen Lee.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he said, they used to like
hang out,
go to school together and walk home and etc.
Wow.
So it's a small world, and it's kind of nice to see people come back.
Yes, that's
and
great.
he mentioned that his parents do live in Temple City, and what I really appreciated was him sharing sort of his personal story about coming back, and he always wanted to be an entrepreneur and reinvest back in the community. It's very similar to sort of when you walk into Summer Rose and you hear sort of Tony's his story and his narrative about wanting to truly be a part of our Temple City community. And so I thought it was very refreshing and great to hear that side. A lot of times we just see a business open and then we don't think too much about, how did they get to the point of opening that business. So just a plug for them. Please give them a shot. I know some of staff has tried their food and has some very positive feedback. And they did mention that when they do get to their grand opening, they will finalize the menu. So right now it's just a soft opening. And of course, the other one coming in is Cauldron, right? Cauldron is an ice cream parlor. And I don't know too much do we know roughly when they will be finished with their TIs?
They look very close. We don't have a final date yet, but they look like could be open in about a week or 2.
Okay.
Are they also in Camellia Square?
Yes, they are. So the Cauldron and the Dive share the same building. They're on the southwest corner they're right next to the Korean barbecue, but in the.
Oh, okay. I know. By the fountain.
Yeah, by the fountain. Yes, exactly. Right by the teapot. So it's a very visible location.
It's a great location.
Yeah. So very excited about the new additions, and encourage everyone to go there and give it a shot. So.
Excellent.
All right. Moving on to additional public comments. I know Miss Lucy Liu had something she wanted to add, so please come on up.
In reference to the ring program, if the city council would also consider, I know you said you wanted to open this up for first timers, but there are people who actually, I don't want to say most, but there are a lot of break-ins through the back door, especially the back sliding glass door. So I actually, when I talk to people about getting security cameras, I recommend that they get 2. So, if you can consider also doing the discount for people who want a second unit for their back door or especially by the sliding glass door. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Lucy. Is there anyone else that'd like to address the council at this time? All right. Seeing none, then we are adjourned. Good night.
Pass.